Be truthful, be honest, be kind. Always remain curious, always be responsible, always keep learning. Be on time, do what you say please and thank you. Love God, love your family, love other people. Good morning, happy Wednesday. This morning I was talking to John Bergeron, our COO, if nobody's met him yet, he's on the phone, and he's got a message for everybody, just talking about how important channel leader role is in this company, just some of the missed opportunities that he's noticing. So John, I'm going to turn it over to you. Whatever we talked about this morning was perfect. Go ahead and relay that message. I really appreciate it.
Hi guys. A few of you have heard me get on my soapbox and talk about passion I have for the channel leader position, but I kind of fleshed it out some more. And, a week ago, we asked everybody, actually, we required everybody to start sending in one line a week of one line a day of what they accomplished. There's been a couple of people who we've gotten it every day. There's been a handful of people who we've gotten it a few times. And then there's a bunch of people who have not even had the courtesy to do the one thing that they've been asked to do, is just on one line write down how many calls your guys had, how many did you go to, how much did you sell, what was your commission, what's your month to date to goal. So that kind of got me thinking again about the channel leader position. And when I came to Rooter Hero and heard that there was this position called channel leaders, and then when I met with the family group that we belong to, and they have the same kind of position, comfort managers, number of different names, and these guys were making 200, 250, 300, 600. One guy in Orange, $750,000 a year, every year. I was blown away. I said, who pays that kind of money? I mean, this is like Wall Street kind of money. This is like, I said, this is just amazing. And I said, God, this position was available to me when I was coming up. I'd have never gone to college. I've never taken the route that I did. I'd have gone and learned how to be a plumber for a few years, and then I'd have gotten one of these jobs, and I would have been good at it. I know that, and then I've been thinking about it, and heck of an opportunity. I mean, it's the opportunity to live more than the American dream. I said, we got people out in the world, millions of them, in the United States, who work 2 to 3 jobs just to make ends meet. And then there's nurses and school teachers and engineers and accountants and auto mechanics, and they don't make this kind of money. They're CEOs of $100 million to $250 million don't make $750,000. And how do I know that? Because I was one. Nowhere close. That kind of money, 250 to 750. That's like in the top 1%, top 1/10 of people in the United States. So when I heard this week, I had a guy come to us and say, "Geez, I'm not a channel leader." He says, "I'm really not getting enough calls." And I said, really? Of course, I get a little defensive about that because I want to be sure there's plenty of calls for everybody. And when they're not getting enough calls, I feel like I'm not doing my job. So I said, let's look it up. And he goes, yeah, we have 3 channel leaders, and it's just not enough calls. I said, well, let's look up what's in April. Okay. I said, in April, you guys had 516 calls. I said, how many do you think that you need? And he said, I think I need 150. Well, and I said, how many did you go to? 40. And I said, well, in April, you had 516 for 3 guys. I said, that's more than 150. And you only went to 40 of them? He said, that's like 25%. I said, no wonder why you're not selling. No wonder why you got the blues. I said, you're not taking advantage of the opportunity. I said, you got to think about this. I said, as a channel leader, you get assigned 5 techs. All right, some people 6, some people 7, some people 4. And I said, and then they all have a van, okay? And their vans cost $35,000 a piece. That's $175,000. And then you get a Silverado, okay, and that's $35,000. And then Rooter Hero pays for the gas, 175 gallons approximately a month, times $4 times 6 is $4,200 a month, and it's $50,400 a year. And I said, and then there's all the vans are equipped with tools and cable machines, and like $3,500 a piece of equipment. That's $17,500. And then you're traveling around with a $10,000 camera with 150 book calls at $100 a call. That's $15,000 a month. That's $180,000 in marketing that is spent just so you can go out and make $500,000 for yourself. And then just to answer the phone and dispatch it, it costs us $20 a call. 150 calls, that's $3,000. That's $36,000 a month. And then for 6 guys, there's vacation days, sick days, there's employer Social Security payments, there's medical, there's 401k, there's work comp. I just thought about it's probably like worth $4,000 a month, which is $48,000. And then when you don't go out to your calls and you don't show up, I said, then we pay the minimums. We pay your tech. Okay. It's not a lot of money, $15 an hour, but you don't have to worry about that. Oh, geez, I can't make payroll this week. And then there's the recalls and refunds when you don't turn the job upside down because you didn't bid enough or you didn't manage the job. And I said, that's $6,000 a month. That's $72,000 a year that we give back, and you give back somewhere between 8 and 12% of that, depending on where you are. But the company pays $72,000. And then there's all the people who don't have who will never have a chance at making $250 to $750. And those are the people in our accounting department, in HR, in marketing, in administration, your ops manager, your dispatcher, your LC. They don't even they're not going to make close to that. And I said, and it costs us about $360,000 a month. When you divide it by 20 techs, that's $18,000 a month. That's $216,000 a year. And I said, and something as stupid as uniform. I said, it's $4.78 every week, and you got 6 guys, and every month that's about $90. Okay, that's $1,100. And so I totaled it up. I said, that's $850,000 that is invested in you, where you don't have to, all you got to do, the only thing that's asked is show up. Okay. I said, there are guys, I said, there is no magic why some shops do 80 to 85% conversion rate every month and have a $1,500 to $1,750 job average and have a cancellation rate of between 12 and 15% consistently every month. I said, because those guys show up. And when you show up, we ask you to only do 3 things. We ask you to do 4 things. Make sure your guys, follow the 5 keys, you take the 3 steps, and then you do the 6 options. And then the 4th thing is don't rip anybody off. No elder abuse, no cheating the customer, because you can make $750,000 without doing any of that. And so when I think about that, about all the people who don't have the opportunity, and I think about people who do and don't take advantage of it, I feel like it's sinful. It's not sinful against God, not sinful against John A., not sinful against Rooter Hero. It's sinful against all the men and women who work so hard every day to make ends meet and don't have this opportunity. But here's what I believe in. I've met almost all of you guys, and I believe that you all are technically proficient, that you all want to succeed, that I believe in that when you're turned on, boy, you guys are smoking hot. It's when you're not turned on that is the issue. Not getting out of bed early, not getting to bed late, and being bone weary, and taking advantage of this incredible opportunity. And it really makes me angry sometimes. But I said, but I believe in you, and I believe in John A. and John B., who will work their butt off every single day. I know every day because when John A.'s on vacation, I hear from him all day long. We believe in your talent and in your spirit, but take advantage of the opportunity that's lying in front of you. So that's my 2 cents worth for what it's worth, and I'll get off my soapbox now.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it. And I believe that what you said about channel leader role being extremely important. It is one of the most important roles in our company. That's why I'm on the phone with everybody. That's why I believe in you guys, and that's why we're doing what we're doing, because I believe you guys are out there, you're on the front lines, and you're really working hard. Mike, are you here? I want to mute everyone.
Yes, I'm here, John.
I want to talk to Mike because I think Mike is doing really incredibly, got out of the gate like on fire. I know Mike. I talked to him. I've met him a couple times, and Mike is not a plumber. 5 years ago, I asked Mike, hey, did you know anything about plumbing? He said, absolutely not. But he's really, really smoking it as a channel leader, doing really great out there. Mike, I believe Mike can sell $500,000 a month. I think he's got the capability and the ability to do it. And he's probably going to do that this month because he's on track to hit his goal. You send me your sheet every day, and you've edited it a little bit. Why don't you talk about what you were doing before this and how you got into this, and just tell us a little bit about yourself, because I think your story is very inspiring.
My dad owned still owns a construction company in California, and growing up as a kid, I did not, I tried painting, I tried doing some plumbing work, and the first plumbing job I did was replace a septic tank for my grandfather, and I didn't want to do plumbing. I wanted to make my own path, and I went into uniforms. So for me, I started with a company called Aramark Uniform in Southern California. First, their name was Aratex, and later became Aramark Uniform. One thing that my dad always taught me is you don't have to be better than anybody than you were yesterday, and that's how I live life today. That's what I teach my kids is I don't want to be better than anybody I work with. I want to be better than who I was yesterday. To do that is some intangibles. You have to be accountable. So what holds you accountable? What's everyone's why? So as a young kid, my why was I wanted to be the best at whatever I did. So I had to hold myself accountable. So I started with the uniform company, loading and unloading trucks because I could not drive. I could not drive until I was 21. So I started at the bottom, loading, unloading trucks. I wanted to be the best unloading in someone's truck. I wanted the guys to come and give me a high five for unloading their dirty trucks. And, at a young age, I didn't know this, but I know it now. There's other people unloading trucks. So what's going to differentiate yourself then? I didn't know that then. I know it now. What I try to always aspire to, there's so many plumbing companies out there. How do we differentiate ourselves? But back then, I was a young kid. I didn't know. But all I knew is this guy's not cleaning the guy's truck. I'm going to clean the guy's truck out for him. Unload all his dirty stuff. I'm going to clean it out because I wanted to be the best for me, not for anybody else. I wanted to separate myself from the pack. And that's what I did for almost 20 years for Aramark Uniform. I went around the world, the United States, and worked in different plants for them. And I went from all the way from being a little guy unloading trucks and loading trucks from Southern California. And my last position was, I went as high as being an assistant GM for them. I didn't want to be in office. I went into sales, but I eventually went into sales. So my last position was, doing sales for them. And, I love sales. I love helping people. I really believe that when I'm in front of a customer, I'm helping them. So fast forward, I moved out here to Arizona because my mom was dying and I was working for Aramark Uniform. And so I moved out here from Ohio and I had a great job in Ohio. When I moved out here, I took a couple months off, talked to Aramark. I was 3 months shy of being there for 20 years. And this is just who I am. When I decided to go back to work, when there was nothing more they can do for my mom, I didn't go back to work for Aramark. I went back and worked for a company called Prudential Uniform. I was there for 4.5 years. My first customer I walked into was ARS in Phoenix, Arizona, and just made a connection with the GM there. And for 4 years, that GM tried to bring me into plumbing, but I just didn't want to be a plumber. I didn't think I was making 6 figures as a uniform guy. I thought that was great money doing what I did. I worked 4 days a week. I loved it. One day I got bored at what I was doing. I just got bored at going business to business and being a corporate sales rep. And one day I took a leap of faith. I prayed about it. And my then girlfriend, now wife, we both prayed about it and I wasn't going to do it. So I made a commitment to myself and to this GM who hired me that since I only worked 4 days a week at the uniform company, I would work Fridays on my own time. I'd go there and go with a guy and learn plumbing. I'd work Saturdays. I didn't work Saturdays for 25 years, but now I'm going to work Saturdays to learn plumbing. If I'm going to do something, I got to know what I'm talking about. I don't want to BS any customer because we're dealing with dollars. We're dealing with a lot of money. We're dealing with customers that cry, physically will cry. You guys have seen it. So after I was done, this guy who trained me, he trained me to do everything the wrong way. He was a great sales guy. He could sell snow to an Eskimo. Great sales guy, but he trained me to do everything the wrong way, and that's not who I was. Because when you're a corporate sales rep for a uniform company, you're signing contracts. This is what I was taught. You're signing contracts. Those contracts are binding. They're law. You can get in trouble for frauding people, and you're frauding business guys. You're frauding CEOs. I was never going to do that. So anyways, I told my wife, I'm not going to do this. This guy who's training me, yeah, he's great. He's a great sales guy, but he lies. I'm not doing that. If that's what the plumbing industry is all about, I'm not doing that. And again, we prayed about it. And one day my wife said, you know what, you're going to do it. And you're going to be the best that you can be at it. And I took a leap of faith. So this job's 100% commission based and I got a salary plus commission. I left my job. It goes to what is everybody's why? How does everybody hold themselves accountable? So I saw that email John Bergeron sent out about it was mandatory for everyone to send those sheets. I don't know about you guys. I try to learn something every day because I'm not the smartest man in the world. I just want to be better for myself, my family. I want to be better for God. I fall down a lot. I'm human. But my why for me is my family. But my why at work, I carry the load of the guys that I work with. This isn't about Mike Topete. This is about the guys that are plumbers that need jobs. This is about them getting on board with Mike Topete and Jim Huff. Jim Huff came from the uniform side too. So it's about accountability. You have to hold yourselves accountable. Like John Bergeron said, we're making $250,000 to $750,000. We're making a lot of money. And if you're not writing your stuff down, because even before they send these sheets out, I showed my ops manager, Corey Harding, what Jim and I do on a green sheet. We've been doing it. I'm doing 2 sheets. I do my green sheet for my customer name, the volume it runs, the tech, the materials, the payment, if it's paid. I want to hold myself accountable for myself, because if I can hold myself accountable, then I can hold my guys accountable. So one thing that Jim and I do, and maybe you guys all do it, when I got into plumbing, this system that I have come over to with Rooter Hero, I didn't know the system was in place. The company I worked with, we helped put this system kind of in place. And I didn't know it was a position. And I wish I was at Rooter Hero years ago, because this is the position that, made me be who I am today. But since John A. has made this position, and this is a position, it's not just a fly-by-night thing. This is an awesome position for all of us. And you can't hold yourself accountable just to do a little piece of paper and do what the owner and the CEO, John B., asked. You can't hold yourself accountable to your guys. You can't expect your guys to call you and tell you what's going on with the job. You can't expect to call them and you're just going to take their word for it because you're 45 minutes out, it's 3 o'clock, and you don't want to drive in traffic. You're just going to say, okay, just pop and go. Everybody has to ask themselves this: what is your why, and how do you hold yourself accountable? Trust me, I complain all the time about calls. I want to go on more calls. I track every call I go on, and I can tell you last week how many calls I went on. I can tell you to the minute how many calls I've been on, and today's Wednesday. It's not to be better than anybody. It's to be better for myself. I have 6 boys. I want to be better for them. I have a wife, and I don't know if people are religious or anything. If it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be here. And the one thing that brought me to this company is the piece of paper about our core values, and what is on there? Love God. I've worked for 3 other companies. Never seen that. It's powerful stuff. Don't know if Peter is religious, but I am. I fall down a lot because I'm a heathen. We all are. But at the end of all this, if you hold yourself accountable and you ask yourself, what is your why? If you're just out there and you just want to make $100,000 a year, you're not just hurting your family, you're hurting this company. But every other channel that works with you, they're like saying, great, that's all you want to make. That's left over for me. Be better. Be better than who you were yesterday. That's all you have to do. If you haven't been sending your sheets in, send them in. I know there's a guy that I want to meet. I want to meet this guy that John A. talks about, who sells $500,000 in Northern California. He's probably on this phone. I can't wait to meet him. I want to meet him to pick his brain. Hold yourself accountable. Ask yourself, what is your why?
Thanks, Mike. We're going to talk to Juan in a moment. You send me your sheet from the day that John sent that email. This month, you've been on 27 calls. In 6 days, you took 1 day off, and you worked either one of the Saturdays or Sundays. I don't remember which one it was. But you've been on 27 calls. You've sold $142,000, and $74,863 has been closed and invoiced already. You took that sheet and you took it to another level. You're even calculating the number of jobs that have dropped, that have been completed and have dropped. And that's amazing. Let's talk about that. 27 calls. You guys took 21 calls. You've been on 27. So you must have taken calls for a different team as well. But you're out there running, man. How do you do this? I mean, you get dispatched to the call. What do? You just head out there? Do you talk tech before you go out there? What is your routine?
My routine in Phoenix is Jim and I, we want to be out there for those guys. Again, it's about everybody. It's about the branch. So our routine is when we get the guys get dispatched. Jim and I are always in communication. So if this guy gets dispatched, I'm calling this guy. Jim knows I'm calling him. I'll call the guy to see if he knows where he's going, which he shouldn't know where he's going. And with me, it's all about training. So I want these guys to know before they get to the call. Be prepared. Be prepared that they're going to a recall. They were out there before 2 months ago on a kitchen line. I want them, as they're driving, to be prepared. If the guy gets there, it's training every day, right? You got to train every day. You got to train yourselves. You got to train the guys, and it's constant training. It's like John B. said, this is a great, very important position, a channel leader. What does it entail? Well, it entails training every day. So I call the guys. Are the guys starting to know who Mike Topete is? Because I've only been here 2.5 months. Yes. They're starting to know who I am, who Jim is. We want them to know the call, be prepared before they get there, because they weren't doing that before we got here. They were just getting out of the truck and going to the customer. Now they're being prepared because we're holding them accountable. Why? Because I'm holding myself accountable. So if I can hold myself accountable, I can hold them. So I'll call them. And if they don't know what they're doing, I want them to pull over and read the note. What's going on with their call? They call me back. I already read the note. I already know what they're going on, but it doesn't do me any good because they have to meet the customer first. They're the first contact. They must know. So then if they know or they don't know, they'll call me back. We'll talk about it. We'll come up with a game plan. They'll ask me where I'm at. I'm telling them I'm en route. And then go meet the customer, introduce yourself, see what the problem is, set the stage, which is awesome. If you guys aren't setting the stage, Corey, every Tuesday I say this, the way Corey Harding teaches plumbing is unbelievable. He's taught me a lot of stuff already. And maybe he learned from TNT. I don't know. I've only been here 2.5 months, but I can only go off of what I've seen. The guys have to set the stage. So you don't go in there. You let the customer show. I always tell my guys this, even the seasoned guys, let them show you where the issue is, the problem is, and then look what the problem is. Then when you come out of the house, call me. I want to know what you know about the customer, and I don't want you to call me in 5 minutes. I want you to make a friend. I want that customer to know that Rooter Hero's here, and we are going to be their hero. So they set the stage. They come out. They call me. They say, yeah, Mike, it's a 1966 home, cast iron, kitchen line is all clogged up. I'm going to pull the cap. I'm going to take my mat in there, and I'm going to take everything out of the cabinet, and we're going to cable. I don't know if you guys, I think everyone's doing it, but I know our branch is doing it. All of our guys got a case of Liquid Hero. So these guys are taking in Liquid Hero and setting it on the counter. So they're doing all this. If I'm on a call, I'll tell them, let them know that I'm on a call, but first try to cable it. Don't just offer the free camera. I know we do have free cameras, but just first try to cable it. Let's try to drop the water. If you don't drop the water, call me. So the guys will call me, and Mike, it's dropped. There's a lot of black sludge. I told the customer that we need to go to the next step and get my field supervisor out here and camera the line.
Great.
Perfect.
Mike, you're on track to get out to 116 calls. That's kind of what you're tracking right now, because you've averaged 4.5 calls a day. And I was out in the field on Thursday because we had a management training, and I started at like 7:30, driving out to a call or 7 o'clock, getting out first call, which was an hour away. And I ended up getting 4 calls that day, and we ended up landing $33,000. I mean, so you're on track to do 116 calls. That is amazing. We're going to talk to Juan in a moment, and I know Juan gets out the calls as well, because I want everybody on this phone to understand that there's no miracle in what happens out there, but you have to show up. It's all a numbers game, guys. It's all a numbers game. 4.5 calls a day. You communicate with Jim. Whoever's closest to the call heads out to the technician, which is perfect. Okay, that's the exact way to go. You can't get to every call, and that's why you got out to 27 calls when your team was on 21 calls. And on your sheet, Mike, you're tracking the jobs that have closed as well. I love the way you edited that sheet, because you're using it for making sure that not only that you're selling the job, those jobs are actually closing, that we're collecting money, and that job is going in for that month. And that's exactly doing, because I think that it's one thing to sell the job, but it's another to get it through, because some of it just flows through to the month. But as channel leaders, we have to be tracking what's closing, right? So I want to congratulate you, Mike. You're doing a great job. I know you're going to hit your $500,000 goal, and pleasure to work with you. Appreciate you taking all the steps and making sure your guys are accountable to the 5 keys, and that you're showing up, because I think talk about that in TNT and in boot camp. Half the battle is won by showing up. That's the message we want everybody to understand, that there's one thing you can do no more is get out to the call. Get out to your guys' calls. Call them up. See, what they're doing, and get out to their calls. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you, sharing these nuggets with everybody.
Thank you, guys.
John, can I just ring in real quick? I know you said half the battle is showing up, but there's statistics that are showing now that 80% is showing up, right? In the past, I thought it was 50%. 80% of what we do is showing up. Imagine that, right? 80% is getting in front of a client is showing up. And I was thinking about that, and I said the national average of closing a job is 85%, right, on the technician side, and 80% is just showing up. It blew my mind away the way they tie together. So I just wanted to mention that real quick.
I appreciate that, Ron. Thank you very much. Hey, Juan, this weekend you called me on Sunday, and I couldn't answer, but I texted you back, and you shared with me that you sold over $80,000 over the weekend. I mean, that's amazing. It was your week to be on call. I know in the Bay Area, guys, the way it works is, we got channel leaders that rotate weekend, right? So everybody takes a weekend, and I believe it was Juan's weekend, and you came out of 2 days of closing $80,000. I mean, that really puts you at a good start for the month. How many jobs do you show up to per day, would you say, Juan, on average?
During the week it could be a little less, but on the weekends I know we can get 8 to 10 calls as far as on a weekend goes.
Sorry, Juan, I had you on mute. I thought you were a different caller.
I would say 8 to 10 calls, through the weekend, anywhere from 4 to 6 calls a day, during the week. It just, all depends how we are that day.
But, I can really see the biggest thing is closing the deal, right? Because, we had a channel manager out here who's no longer a channel leader, but I know, a lot of guys who say, we get him out there, he shows up, but, we didn't get nothing. You can go to 8 to 10 calls a day, 6 to 8 calls. But I think one of the biggest things is showing up and closing the deal. Just taking care of the client is what really is going to make an impact. Because if you can get to 10 calls, that's great. Really take your time. But if you're going to 10 calls and you're converting 2 of them, it's not too good.
Yeah, and that conversion rate it goes hand in hand. Here's the thing. If you're showing up enough and you're running the sales system, right? I mean, 'cause we have an options system and we have steps, right? We talk about taking steps and options, and there's a precise way of how we do things, okay? Talk about educating the client and doing stuff like that. If you're going to enough calls, you're going to get better, because the ones that say no turn out to be a good practice. That becomes a good practice call. I love analyzing and go, what could have I done to make that go a better way? Did I screw up on a call?
And I talk to Ron about that all the time. I say for the new channel leaders or guys just starting out, going from technician to channel, you try to get to every call you possibly can, right? I don't want to sit here and say, hey, John, Ron, I go to every single my technician gets dispatched out to. I'm at every call. I'd be lying if I said this to Ron, and he'll know when I say it now. I get to every possible call I can get out to every single day, not just when closing the deal, not when things are just going great in my life. Even when things aren't going my way, I still keep pushing every day, right? And I know that's a big part of it. Even when you're not winning, you got to keep smiling, right? And I know that sometimes it gets tough, and you can go to 10 calls, and I remember being new and just like, man, what's going on? What am I doing? And just like you said, all of those, no's and not closing the deal help me get better at my skills, help me get better at my craft, and just continuing to push, continuing to learn, and have enough self-awareness on what I was doing that, hey, I got to get better at this. Okay, I got to wake up earlier. Okay, I got to stay out later. Okay, I got to go back to the job. And you know what, next, right? And doing all these things, and I know, for me, like I said, I get to every single possible call I can get out to, right? Whether I'm feeling them like it or not, and I know what helps is developing that skills through, like you said, you show up enough times, you put in enough work in anything, you're going to get better at it, right? And that's a big part of it. Like I said, is just continuing, show up, keep getting to the calls, keep developing your skills, keep getting better, and just keep pressing on. Just keep going. That's, one thing about me. I don't stop. I will not stop. I keep going, and I'll go back to the call. It keeps showing up. And I know a lot of times, a lot of channel leaders can get to a lot of calls and say, hey, you know what? I went to 3. It didn't go my way. Yeah, but what if $80,000 waiting for you, right? But you quit too early.
So a lot of people are probably wondering this, man. Juan, you go to 4 to 6 calls a day during the week. On a weekend, when you're working that weekend, when it's your rotation, you're going to 8, 10 calls that weekend. And they're going, man, Juan must be working 14, 18 hours a day. Does Juan even have time to do anything else? I mean, does Juan only working? I know you've got a wonderful wife at home. You've got a great girl at home that's waiting for you. I know you got other things that you do. Tell us about that, because most people are wondering, man, I just can't do what Juan's doing because he's just working 18 hours a day. I got things to do after work. I have a life to live and all other things. And I'm sure you're doing a lot of other things besides working, right?
The same thing's always been just planning and preparing every single day. Just planning and preparing and waking up early is what helps for me. Waking up at 5 o'clock and staying out, and it's the same routine, guys. I'm not afraid to say it. I get at the same time home every day between 6:30, 7:30 every day. I'm done. I shut the phone off. I put my attention to the wife and the kid at home and spend time with them, and that's what I do. I wake up at 5 a.m. every day. I'm at home, 11, 12 o'clock. I'm not doing that. The guys know after that, they'll usually set up the call for the next day. If they get out to a call that night and all, that's the way that we do it down here, right? Because if not, then, my strength becomes my weakness. Now it's going to start causing me problems at home. It's going to start causing me problems with my husband. And I'm only allowed so much energy a day, and I got to divide it into things that I really love. And thank God and thank my wife for for pushing me every day that this is what I love. This is what I love to do. I love to wake up in the morning every single day. You know, I remind myself every single day. I remember where I came from, and I never forget that. So for me, it's just remembering. You know, I love when the guy on the phone said, remembering your why. I mean, for me, I do that every single day. You know, every single day, I'm reminding myself why I'm doing this, because the other day, you know, with one of the channel leaders, it's really hard to succeed at things that you hate to do. But when you love it, it's just so easy and it's fun. If you're not having fun while you're doing this, I would, you know, really suggest that you guys move on to somewhere that you really love to work. For me, I've been able to persevere and continue to do this and perform at a high level and continue to get better and learn and increase my income and do all of these things because I really love it, right? It's not something that I pretend to do on Instagram or Facebook or all of this stuff that I hear. You know, you can come ride with me anytime. You can send anybody down here, and there will be no time to stop at the bar, guys, and eat chicken wings and have a beer and do all these things that I hear other people do. We're going to get out there. We're going to close some deals. I might pull over to warm up one of my meals, get back on the road. We'll probably stop at Starbucks, grab a coffee, and at that, it's probably going to be drive-thru. So, I mean, yeah, they are right. I am out there working all day, but when I'm at the beach, I'm at the beach.
Thank you for sharing that. If you can take anything, just one thing from here, just take the fact that the first call with Mike, he's been on 27 calls, which average about 4.5 a day. Juan is talking about he goes to 4 to 6 calls a day. And if you guys get out there, start your mornings early, like Juan is saying. Start your mornings. You know, I've started my mornings at 4:30, 5 o'clock. Forever. I mean, I get up, I have 2 hours, I get everything I need to do out of the way, my workout, everything I need to do, I get it out of the way. My journaling, my learning, I read a book, pray, I meditate, I do all of this stuff. I get it out of the way. My mind is fresh, 7:30, 8 o'clock, boom, you hit it. Right? And you just keep going till 6 o'clock. Look, I was out in the field on Thursday. I knew I was going to sell work. And Mike Noteware ended up going on the call with me because we had to follow up. We had to go back to one of the calls. We sold literally, I went out to 4 calls. I had more time. I could have gotten out to 8 calls. But the problem was, you know, I got out to these calls, then I opened up my laptop to get on, and I started calling technicians going, dude, what are you doing? You're on a call. Okay, I'm headed out there. Oh, no, I already 10-8'd that call. I go, but you're still on it. You're still showing you're on the call. You know, they're going to have a handyman come out and do it. Whatever. Boom. He hangs out. I called the other guy. Hey, what are you doing? You're on the call. I'm available. I could come out. I literally only worked for 2 hours, guys. Went out to 4 calls and only had interaction with customers for 2 hours. I was itching to get out to more calls, but the technicians were just 10-8ing the calls and leaving without even giving me I was calling them off my laptop and trying to get out to calls myself. And I'm going, dude, we had a call, you know, in Granada Hills. I'm like, man, I could get out to this call. Had the LC call the customer. We could come out there earlier. Customer wants it at 5. Great. Nothing. I didn't hear I don't even know what happened to that call. Right? But what I'm trying to say, guys, is the technicians will just automatically just 10-8 the calls if you're not on top of it. And I just jumped into this overnight. Like the next day, I knew I had a guy out. I had 2 guys out of the office. I said, I'm not going to let this day go to waste. Okay, out of those 4 calls, guys, 3 of them got upsold. 1 of them got upsold to $33,000. And I'm not even a great salesperson. I just went out there. Mike went out there with me, you know, after we went out the second time. I planted the seeds so well that all I had to do is drop the options in front of the customer, and he's asking me, John, what should I choose? And I'm going, no, you've got a $37,000 option here, but I wouldn't go with that one. I would go with this $33,000 one. And he chose whatever I told him to choose. But I never even sold this customer. All I did is I brought in some pipe, I brought in some educational material. I educated him on what the problem was, what the solutions are, and all of this stuff. Dropped the options in front of him. Took literally about 40 minutes, 30 minutes, you know, closed the $33,000. It doesn't take a lot of time to close these deals, but you got to get out to the calls. You got to get out to the calls. I wish I went on 6 calls I wish I went on 8 calls that day, because no kidding, if I had shown up to 8 calls that day, I would have sold probably another $20,000 or $30,000. I know 100%. But these guys don't know any better, so they're just going out and leaving an estimate and going out to another call. I couldn't clear the line. You know, he's going to call a handyman. So next day we called the customer back, called another company. They were able to drop the water. This technician couldn't drop the water. Why wouldn't you get me out there? You can't drop the water anyway. Why would you 10-8 that call and leave by not leaving any money? You know, this is a local issue we have. It doesn't happen in every shop. But it really upsets me because the channel leaders that are on top of these guys should make sure that this doesn't happen. You understand? This is the kind of stuff you got to make sure doesn't happen in the field, because that's your money that just went to another company that dropped the water, and that customer is never calling us back. If I was on that call, that probably would have been another $10, $20, $30,000 job. 100%. Technician left not knowing, gave the job to another customer. And I even called this guy, told him, dude, I could come out there. Oh no, I left that call a while ago. I text message everybody the day before, that morning, that I'm available. I'm there. I'm there for this team. You guys, get me out to calls. I've done and I continue to do what you guys are doing. I go out in the field once in a while and I do. And guys, I am inspired by what you guys do. It is such a pleasure to do what you guys do. It is one of the most fascinating jobs that anybody could have, because you get incredible rush, okay, when you help a customer and they accept an option and you know that you're doing, you're helping the tech, you're helping the company, you're helping this customer solve the problem. It's an incredible adrenaline rush that comes onto you that nobody else really ever gets. But you get to get that every single day, right? And why wouldn't you go out there looking for it? So if there's one thing you can do after this call is increase the amount of calls you show up to. Do not allow your technicians to leave jobs without you talking to them, communicating, and maybe perhaps even just going out to the call. Tell them, don't leave till I get there. Because that's exactly what I would have done with this technician that was on a kitchen sink call, and he left without dropping the water. He left it for another company. And I purposely made sure that the company followed up on that call, and we ended up losing it to another company because they came out there and they were able to drop the water. Crazy, but true.
That same subject, John, a lot of times, it reminds me of working with Adam, something about what you said earlier. I love working with this guy. It's awesome because the thing I learned working with Adam is that if you don't drop the water, you lose your job 9 times out of 10 because they just think, this is the worst part. They don't think you're trying to rip them off. They don't think you're trying to scam them. They honestly don't think that you know what you're doing. They start to lose their trust because they think you just don't have the skills to solve their problem, right? It's real simple. The more problems you solve, the more money you're going to earn. Nobody's going to pay you without solving their problems. So one thing I learned working with Adam is we would close a lot more deals and get a lot more work by just taking care of the client and dropping that water every single time, educating them, and running a sound camera, right? It's when you don't drop the water, they start getting concerned that you don't know how to sweep a drain. That's what I started finding out. And the more we started running into this, it was they would kick you out. They call somebody else.
I appreciate the feedback. You're right. If I was on that call and he couldn't drop the water, I would grab the cable and I would try to drop the water myself, because you don't have a picture until you drop the water, and you don't want a competitor to come in and look like a hero and make us look like a zero because we couldn't drop the water, when we're the ones that are doing this. We're the professionals. Guys, Jim Rohn said this. He said, don't let your learning turn into knowledge or you will become a fool. Let your learning turn into action and you will be successful. Don't let your learning turn into knowledge or you will become a fool. Let your learning turn into action and you will be successful. So whatever you learn, go out there and apply it. Okay, because most of us are learning, but we're not going out there and doing, and that's the problem. And we have to get out there and we have to apply what we're learning. Because if we do not apply what we're learning, then we're wasting both the person that's teaching, your time, their time, everybody's time. I want everybody to one thing you could take, just show up. Okay, it's 80%. Ron said it changed. It's not 50%. 80% is showing up. Make a commitment, guys, to work from 8 o'clock to 6 o'clock, right? Not from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, not from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock, not whenever somebody calls you because they need you, but get out there and find somewhere to go. Find somewhere, search and find somewhere to go, okay, that you can run a camera and you could communicate with the customer. Don't hang around the office. There's no money being made at the office except for the hourly workers that are there. Your job is to be in front of customers. And that's where you have to spend most of your time. Now, there's one more thing I want to announce. Guys, we just started a secret shopper program. Every one of your technicians will be tested. In every single division, we will have a secret shopper that's going to call in like a customer and is going to test the technician, is going to test the call center, is going to our timeliness on getting to jobs is even going to test and see if a channel leader shows up to the job, or even if a technician talks about a channel leader. Okay, this is a company we're using. I will not even know who the secret shoppers are, because this will happen without our knowledge. We are going to find out later who they are, and we're paying these secret shoppers to call us. And they will test your technicians to see if they're going to come back on the weekend and do the work as well. They're going to ask them. So you got to be ready. I'm going to tell the technicians about this as well. I do not like surprises. So I don't want anybody to be caught off guard. And that's why I'm telling everybody that we are running the Secret Shopper program again, because we want to, like Ronald Reagan says and continues to say, and I love his quote, is trust but verify. So we trust that everybody's doing the job, doing it well, but we're going to start verifying. And my goal, guys, is I want to be a hero to you guys, okay? I want to be a hero to our frontline team, to everybody at Rooter Hero. My job is to be a hero to you guys. I will do everything I can to bring resources and put it in front of you guys so you can make more money. And that's what I think about daily. That's what I think about all the time, is how can I create or bring the resources and bring it to this company. And what I expect from everybody else is just do your part, okay? Let me do my part. I'll stay on my side of the line. You do your part, stay on your side. Let's all do our parts. And your part is to be a rainmaker, guys. Show up and find the problems, put the options in front of clients, and let them choose something. I'm going to go ahead and close the meeting, guys. I'm going to go ahead and read the blessing real quick. May the roads rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine soft upon your face, and may the rain fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the hollow of his hand. Thank you, guys, and have a great day.